With this WVLI News Update, I'm Rob West, back with a look at today's news right after this.
Stay connected to your community, even on the go. The WVLI Podcast Network brings you 3 great local shows. The WVLI News Update keeps you informed. Kankakee Valley Community Happenings gets you ready for the weekend. And This One Time in Kankakee shares the incredible stories of our area. Find the WVLI Podcast Network wherever you get your podcasts or at WVLI927.com. The voices you trust beyond the dial.
Second week of testimony started yesterday in the Xandria Harris murder trial. Jake Lamore has some details for us.
Rob Harris faces charges of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and child endangerment for allegedly helping her then-boyfriend Darius Sullivan in the December 2021 shooting that killed Bradley Police Sergeant Marlene Ripmanick and wounding of Officer Tyler Bailey. Defense attorney Sierra Norris moved for a directed verdict, arguing the state lacked sufficient evidence, but Judge Kathy Bradshaw Elliott denied the motion. The defense then called CANCOM dispatcher Kyle Bunty, who testified Officer Bailey requested background checks on Harris and Sullivan shortly before the shooting, revealing active warrants for Sullivan. Harris's brother Xavier also testified that he picked up his crying sister and drove her to Indiana. On cross-examination, he admitted pleading guilty to obstruction of justice after lying about her whereabouts, telling police he dropped her off in Bradley or Kankakee. Police also found a gun in a bag inside his car, and he told officers he didn't know where it came from. With 3 jurors dismissed so far, 3 alternates remain. The trial is expected to wrap up Friday. I'm Jake Lamore.
Village Bourbonnais Police Department is one step closer to being fully staffed. During last night's village board meeting, Patrolman Joshua Reel was sworn in as the latest officer on the force. Deputy Police Chief Jason Stuba.
He comes to us from the Kankakee County Sheriff's Office. I believe he was there for 7 years. He has over 10 years experience in law enforcement in Kankakee County, and he's a Bourbonnais resident, so we're happy to have him.
With the addition of Patrolman Reel, the Bourbonnais Police Department now just one officer away from being fully staffed. Deputy Chief Stuba says the hope is to have that remaining position filled by the end of the year. Also during last night's meeting, the board okayed a bid from Low Voltage Solutions Incorporated for new security cameras in Village Hall, the police department, inside the board meeting room, and in the Grove. Manteno Village Board meeting last night couldn't happen for lack of a quorum. Absences included trustees C.J. Boudreau, Joel Geske, Todd Crockett, and Annette Zimbelman. Mayor Annette Lamore talked about the whereabouts of each of the trustees.
When I came tonight, the only trustee that had contacted me was C.J. Boudreau, and he told me that he had open house at a school and he had to be present for that, so he was sorry he would not be here. I didn't hear from anybody else. Peggy said she got a text at the last minute from Todd Crockett that he couldn't make it, and I believe that Chris LaRock heard from Joel Geske that there was so many claims that he's overburdened and he couldn't make it in tonight.
Lamore said Trustee Zimbelman was the only one she hadn't heard anything from. Mayor Lamore tried to use a Manteno code that lets the attending officer notify of absent members who can be found within the village. After notice and request, if the member still refuses to attend, the officer can have them arrested and brought to the meeting. Manteno Police Chief Al Swinford was sent to notify Zimbelman at her residence but was unable to locate her. Items on the agenda included appointing a new village clerk, a FOIA officer, a code enforcement officer, and payment of bills of just under $124,000. Bourbonnais police report the arrest of a Kankakee man Saturday after he was allegedly found parked outside a bar with a gun. Bourbonnais police say it was just before midnight Saturday night. Officers spotted a car parked headed in the wrong direction in a no-parking zone in front of a bar in the village. As the officers approached the car, they allegedly saw open alcohol inside the car and what appeared to be an AR-15-style rifle. Police say that 4 people inside the car were told to get out. The rifle turned out to be a BB gun. Search of the car, though, did turn up a loaded handgun. Bourbonnais police arrested 26-year-old Corey Tharp Jr. for aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. At Monday night's Kankakee City Council meeting, aldermen voted to untable an ordinance that was tabled at the last meeting 2 weeks ago. Mayor Chris Curtis says that the ordinance had to do with the Gift of God Street Church on North 5th Avenue.
And the council wanted to send that back to committee for further discussion with the council members. So we had to untable it tonight to then be able to make a motion to send it back to the ordinance committee for review, which will be in 2 weeks. And then we'd expect a action resulting out of committee back to city council at some point from that meeting.
If the ordinance come back to full city council and passes, it would allow Gift of God to have a conditional use permit to operate transitional housing for the homeless. Struggle to return power to residents of Northwest Indiana continues. NIPSCO says over 100,000 customers still don't have power in Northwest Indiana. Perry Williams has more.
The utility had to pause restoration efforts after one of their vehicles was hit by gunfire on Friday. Gary Mayor Eddie Melton said no one was hurt, and NIPSCO crews were back out with beefed-up security.
And I don't want residents to think because of this one isolated incident that the work has stopped.
Despite the mayor's claims, residents are frustrated.
But they ain't pausing when they take our money. We're the first to get cut off when anything happens. NIPSCO.
Some people in Northwest Indiana have been without power since last Tuesday. I'm Perry Williams.
NIPSCO says there's still power out to more than 100 customers in DeMott, a handful of residents in Couts, nearly 40 residents of Lake Village, and nearly 20 in Samava Resorts. No word yet on when the power might be restored. The shuttered building that once housed Sully's Restaurant on Southwest Avenue in Kankakee will soon be home to a new banquet hall. Kankakee City Council approved a liquor license for the new place on Monday at the City Council meeting. Mayor Chris Curtis tells us more.
We have a local individual that has acquired the former Sully's in Kankakee, which was a fixture for many, many years, not only as a banquet facility, but as a restaurant. They're currently going through the renovations of that property, and they had applied for a Class E liquor license is what is itemized for banquet halls. It'll be Palazzo Banquets that'll be opening up once the renovations are done, and they'll have the space available for events and entertainment.
Mayor Curtis says the business owner's goal is to have the renovations done by the end of the year. It was an evening of resolutions at last night's Bourbonnais Village Board meeting. Among those resolutions, one honoring Bourbonnais Canine Officer Knight, who recently passed away. Sergeant Tim Banks was Knight's human partner and said that he was touched by the village board taking time out to honor Knight.
For everyone to know and acknowledge and commemorate what he was to the community and the region as a whole means a lot to me and my family. I can't thank everyone enough for thinking of him and commemorating his sacrifices through his life.
Knight was the village's first ever canine officer when he joined the department in 2024. Knight died July 11th following a battle with cancer. In sports, Cubs won yesterday while the Sox lost. The Cards split a doubleheader. Cubs took 10 innings to beat the White Sox yesterday, 7-5 at Wrigley Field. That series continues tonight. Cards split a doubleheader with the Reds in Cincinnati, winning the first game 2-1, losing the second 6-5 in 10 innings. That series also continues tonight. Chicago Sky hosts the Liberty tonight. Chicago Fire FC take on Orlando City on Wednesday. And Bears training camp continues and open practice today. The Bears are at the Bengals this Saturday. That is a check of news and sports here on this Tuesday. Have a good rest of your day. Be safe, everybody. I'm Rob West.
In honor of my grandfather, Franklin Weber's recent passing, we're revisiting the pilot episode of This One Time in Kankakee.
This one time in Kankakee, it was run over with a tractor.
Featuring unreleased audio and new details, it's the story of a father's sacrifice that brought my grandfather 93 beautiful years. Listen now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.